Sonics, and the Seeds, people were starting to get the idea that you didn't need to be the Beatles to make music, and everyone could actually get into it. Despite these bands being an important footstep on punk's history, it was gonna take a whole other decade for this idea to really go mainstream. During this decade, bands like the Velvet Underground, the Stooges, the New York Dolls, and Alice Cooper were starting to form, which would take the sound of the early garage rock bands and evolve it into a little something called proto-punk. I don't know if you can tell by the name, but proto-punk was very important to punk because of two reasons. One, it was a big step musically for the genre, with bands like the Stooges and the Velvet Underground who are still influencing bands to this day. I have a whole video about that last one, by the way. But also, politics were becoming a big part of the genre, with leftist ideas about the working class and an anyone can do it ideology, and let's not forget, ideas about sexuality and gender. I feel crazy every time I have to talk about this, but believe it or not guys, trans people actually existed in the 60s, and they were a very important part of punk's history. Bands like the New York Dolls, and well later David Bowie himself, were directly inspired by the trans people in these movements. The New York Dolls went on to create the term glam punk. Okay, I know this is getting a little bit too much, and there's a lot of history I'm probably leaving out. The main things you need to know about proto-punk are the DIY anyone can do it culture, working class pride, and really ahead of their times views about gender. Also, they were pretty fucking raw, and they sounded better than garage rock. A couple years later, in 1975, Patti Smith released her debut album, Horses. And in the same year, the music magazine Punk was created, which featured Patti herself in their second issue. This basically marked the start of the punk genre in New York, and clubs like Max's Kansas City and CBGB were gonna be the birthplace of legendary punk bands like the Ramones, Television, Blondie, and the Talking Heads. The Ramones was probably the most important band to punk at this era, and is still considered by some as the first ever punk band. Their fast and distorted guitars would reach all the way to London, where the punk scene was about to really blow up. Now here is where punk takes its ultimate form, because of one main reason: the huge difference between 70s New York and 70s Britain. I know everyone jokes about how Britain is a shithole, but the 70s and 80s were probably the darkest times for the country, because of a certain ginger woman.
Do you think Margaret Thatcher had girl power?
Yes, of course.
Do you think she effectively utilized girl power by funneling money to illegal paramilitary death squads in Northern Ireland?
I don't know about that.
Without getting too deep into that, just know that Margaret is one of the most evil and unlikable people in Britain's history. And that's saying a lot, seeing how everyone in that country is evil. With a cruel conservative government who was starting wars for nothing, and a royal family who didn't give a shit about their people, the British youth was starting to wake up. They were desperately looking for a way to stand up to all the nonsense that was going on, and punk couldn't have started at a better time. Okay, quick correction, Margaret was actually elected after punk became a thing, and it was goth and post-punk bands who would end up forming while she was in power. I know Morrissey hated her guts. Before her, it was the Labour Party, which Kevin O'Morgan described as this. So it was a dark time for working class Brits nonetheless, but yeah, sorry, I don't know too much about British politics. Malcolm McLaren, the manager of the New York Dolls, returned to London and along with the well-known Vivienne Westwood, started a clothing brand called Sex. This was also a crucial part of punk, sexual liberation, and a clothing style that made them stand out from the conservatives in the country. Something very similar was also going to be adapted by the goth scene. Oh yeah, they also created that one funny punk band. Despite being created just so Vivienne could sell some shirts, the Sex Pistols became the punk band. Nevermind the Bollocks became one of the most iconic albums in music history. With openly rebellious lyrics and an attitude that was never seen before, the Sex Pistols told the British people what punk was, and the youth finally felt like they could express themselves against the tyrannous conservative government that was ruining their lives. Slowly but surely, new punk bands were starting to form everywhere, with legendary names like The Clash, Susie and the Banshees, The Adverts, Buzzcocks. Punk became a cultural phenomenon that was gonna last for decades to come. In 1976, the Sex Pistols went on the Anarchy Tour, which ended up creating a lot of buzz for them around the country. The reason for this was that many of the gigs would be cancelled, and the band would end up on the papers like every other week. The peak of their career though was probably the 1st of December 1976 when they appeared on this interview. Let's start off with the main problem everyone had with this thing: the swearing. Yeah, now it just seems normal, but in a conservative 70s Britain, that seemed very rude, and it actually ended up making the news. This incident got so big that it basically got punk to go mainstream. Were the pistols loaded? Rock called filth? How dare teenagers swear on live television? This generation is doomed. Everyone got angry at them for swearing that they completely ignored the fact that the interviewer was hitting on a 19-year-old girl. The British public really had their priorities straight. The other thing I need to address is the little symbols they have on their sleeves. But don't worry, I'll talk about that later. The main point of this whole thing was that punk had gone mainstream, which basically just killed it right then and there. There were two reasons for this. Punks were really against being mainstream, and they thought that you were a sellout if you tried to actually sell records. The bars clubs got a lot of criticism for this, but yeah, this whole thing goes completely against what people on TikTok are doing right now, where they use punk solely for them to get some followers and make some easy cash. Now, I want to make one thing clear. There's nothing wrong with being mainstream, and in my opinion, this was a really stupid thing punks had going on. What is wrong with what TikTok punks do is that the main reason they make punk music is to make money. That's a bad thing to do in any genre, because music should be a way for you to express yourself, and it's very easy to tell when a song is specifically made to sell records, because it has absolutely no soul. I mean, have you heard of Charlie Puth? What is extra wrong with people like Carolyn Carr is that they chose the worst genre to profit from. How are you gonna try and capitalize from the anti-capitalist movement? The second reason why punk died was the low amount of musical experimentation in the genre, because everything besides distorted fast guitars would be considered post-punk. Punk was undoubtedly very influential to rock music, and it evolved into multiple subgenres such as hardcore punk, skate punk, pop punk, thrash metal, and black metal. But I think the most important genre punk created was indeed post-punk. Post-punk is a weird genre to talk about because it's not really one singular thing. It's just an umbrella term for basically any band that came after punk. Because of this freedom they had musically, post-punk created a lot of legendary names that were gonna define music for decades to come. We're talking The Smiths, Television, Talking Heads, Joy Division, Susie and the Banshees, The Cure, the list goes on and on. What we need to focus on for today is those three last bands and the transition from punk to goth. There's a great video by Trash Theory which goes way more in depth than I do, so check it out if you want to learn more about goth music. But the main thing I want to talk about is a funny t-shirt. Unknown Pleasures and Joy Division introduced people to a darker version of punk. Well, at this point, you couldn't even call it punk anymore, because instead of focusing on the distorted guitars, Joy Division paid more attention to bass lines and dark lyrics about depression, war, and epilepsy. Even the band's name was taken from female concentration camp prisoners forced into pushing bed. The band was obsessed with the darkest things in life, something that was commonly seen in gothic literature. But what would truly influence the goths was the sound of Unknown Pleasures. This album was so dark and beautiful, and it sounded like nothing else at the time. It was clear that this was the start of a new era for music. And bands like Susie and the Banshees and The Cure quickly rushed into making their own goth albums with Juju and Pornography. All three of these albums were gonna be very detrimental to the goth subculture and were gonna be held up as inspiration for years to come, especially Unknown Pleasures. By the way, Susie is the girl from that Sex Pistols interview. She ended up becoming an iconic figure among the goths in the 80s and pioneered the fashion style that people love so dearly these days. This post-punk movement later led to the creation of goth rock, and it created bands like Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, Christian Death, and way more. After this, goth would spread even more in both America and the UK, and it would inspire bands like the Cocteau Twins, Nine Inch Nails, and My Chemical Romance. Despite being more focused on personal feelings and the darker things in life, goth's core values were still pretty similar to punk's, which were anti-capitalism, liberation, and individual freedom. Okay, I did not expect this explanation to go on for this long, and I know that I've left so much important stuff, but I think you guys have enough context about goths and punks by now. Listen to Disintegration by The Cure since I forgot to mention that. Now, let's talk about TikTok goths. I think the main problem with TikTok and goth culture now is the very clear fetishization of goth women, fast fashion, and people forgetting the original sound of the genre. Let's start with the first one. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, you've probably seen a meme about finding a goth girlfriend and oh my god, goth dummy mommy, whatever. Now I get that most of these are jokes, and some of them are kinda funny as well. What's not funny is the harassment alternative and goth women get by just existing. There are stories of people barking and making noises towards them on the street. This is a thing that happens a lot apparently. It's gone from sexual liberation to women being embarrassed of walking down the street. It's really gross, and TikTok is definitely the main reason for all of this. I mean, you have memes like this with 1 million likes.
Oh no! Oh no!
And then you have really cringe videos like these.
I'm sorry, I don't think that there are any attractive goth mommy fursuiters. Like, no goth mommy fursuiter is gonna duet this. I wouldn't even want any to duet this, that's weird.
Look, I don't want to be the fun police, because I know how fun it is to say that you want to get pegged by a goth mommy or whatever. But these jokes are very clearly the main reason for the mass fetishization goth women get. Also, you pretending to be ironic and making shitty meta jokes doesn't really fix any of that.
God dummy mommy! God dummy mommy! Shut the f*** up! I don't appreciate being fetishized.
Whoa, is that a guy fetishizing a goth girl? That's surprisingly my fetish.
That's why I said in the beginning that it has turned from a beautiful artistic movement to a Pornhub search term. It's become a trend basically. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, this girl is actually goth and this one is a poser, blah blah blah, because that's not gonna fix anything. Some people just like the dark makeup and that's fine. The problem with goth and punk trending on TikTok is that it gets watered down and people forget the genre's core values. That's why you see so many people calling out Caroline Carr or Jake Weber for using fast fashion and clearly using these subcultures for their monetary profits. Another thing I want to make clear is that punks were never perfect. They had a massive problem, and some of them have just turned into conservatives as they've gotten older. I mean, Iggy Pop kids for fuck's sake. But I think that if we really wanted to, we can be better than the older generations. But to do that, people need to learn about punks and goths history and adapt their core values once again. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, why is the music that these guys make so fucking shit? Like, it's not just their makeup that has been watered down. This music is so soulless as well. I get that everyone has their taste and whatever, but why is it like so clean? This is a problem with most genres now, to be honest, but you'd think you'd never see this problem with punk out of all things. Their song sounds like what I thought hardcore rock was back in middle school when I used to watch Disney Channel. And then TXO makes this video about how he has to be cringy because nobody cares about this type of music anymore.
Do you want to know why I am so cringe? It's because I had to be.
But this argument immediately falls apart when you learn about a certain modern band from Ireland. And of course, I'm talking about Fontaine CC. I know that technically they were signed to a label, but we live in an era where even labels are using TikTok to promote their bands, because nobody really listens to the radio anymore. Fontaine CC made it big without having to do any cringe at TikTok, or f***ize goth women, or I don't know, kids. They are making punk and goth albums, and they genuinely sound fresh and amazing, because it's clear that they know their roots. I mean, if you told me that Ian Curtis somehow got an Irish accent and formed Joy Division once again just to make Skinty Fia, I'd believe you. Doggerel and Skinty Fia are easily one of my favorite albums to come out during the last 5 years, and I'm really excited for their upcoming album in August. They are what you'd consider actual punks, and that's not even what they're going for. They don't have to talk about dog chains or man or whatever. They did it all by talking about the issues that Ireland is going through. So yeah, I know it's a little hard, but if we do try, we can maybe bring actual punk and goth bands back. There are a lot of good bands out there who don't get the attention they deserve from the community, because they're not making cringe TikToks like these. I don't know if this whole rant made sense to all of you, but I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. Check out my other videos if you want to hear more about music history, and subscribe. Also, give me money on Patreon, I want a camera, please.
Oh no! Oh no! DVD has 33 killers, all with unique powers and characteristics, and while some are very simple to understand, others not so much. So let's take a look at each of them, and if you need to, check the timestamps below. The Trapper is a setup character with average speed and a normal terror radius. He is the character you will do your tutorial with. He starts the trial with 2 bear traps in his inventory by default, and the 8 additional bear traps will spawn scattered close to generators that you can pick up by interacting with them. You can carry a maximum of 2 bear traps, and when you reach the max, he will make a sound. By using and holding your power button, you can place and arm a bear trap below. You can also rearm a disarmed bear trap on the ground instead of picking it up. Anytime you set a bear trap, you will also get a speed boost for 5 seconds in order to help you move around the map and catch up to survivors. When a survivor steps over a bear trap, they become immobilized. They get injured if they were healthy, and also they will scream and make a loud noise notification, which reveals their location in case they are far away from you. If you come to a trapped survivor, you can hit them, downing them in the process, or you can just pick them up. Now be careful, because just like survivors, if you walk over a bear trap yourself, you will get temporarily stunned. This is especially dangerous if you're carrying a survivor.
We're already engaged. She's not a US citizen, is kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, sure. How long did you guys know each other?
We're already engaged. She's not a US citizen, is kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, sure. How long did you guys know each other before getting engaged?
6 months?
out of safety for yourself. Are you positive that this is for good intentions? I just want to be protective.
Yeah, and also comes with a lot of complications too, because now I have to spend $5,000 on immigration papers.
Did you get a ring?
It was $2,500. It was while we were on vacation.
Vacation?
I had to borrow $1,600 just to afford to go on that vacation. Hi, my name is Mason. I'm 29 years old. I'm based out of Mountain View, California, and this is Financial Audit.
Oh, we're the same age, and we have curly hair and glasses. The whole comment section is going to be like, oh, it's another Caleb twin in the Caleb verse. Okay, well, okay. Or as Noah says, the Ozempic version of Caleb, yes. My producer, so yeah.
Ozempic.
What do you do for a living in California?
I actually work at a EV infrastructure...
Tesla?
No. I don't work at Tesla. I work at an EV integrator. They are a competitor to Tesla.
What do you do? What's your job?
I work as a R&D engineer. It's kind of what I do there.
Sounds like money. What are you making?
I make no money, which is why I work there. So I only make $80,000 a year.
What are you talking about? I make no money.
Okay, but
yeah. Well,
but
that doesn't.
The rent there is like
money.
The rent's like $2,000.
What town?
Mountain View.
Okay. Yeah, it's expensive.
It's like $2,000 a month. It's like half my paycheck.
Oh, $3,000 a month. Well, how much are you contributing to like retirement?
I honestly, I don't even know. I don't look at any of those.
You mean you don't know? You had to have set it up and chosen the amount.
I just click through buttons. I really don't know.
Well, I can't get into your retirement account, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Why was payroll in only 2,115?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just.
That's not your payroll.
It is. It's
$80,000 now.
Yeah. After taxes and fees. Yeah. That is.
No, it's not.
It is.
That means you're contributing like an insane amount to like your 401k or something.
I don't know.
That's why you feel like you make no. Did you give us your 401k statement?
I don't even know how to get it.
Are you like a hopeless child? We're the same age.
Sometimes
I guess that's funny.
I don't. If I think about it, then I would look at it. But why would I? If it's just done automatically, then
there's probably the think about it stage would be when we asked you for documents.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, no offense, but what the buddy? In no way, shape, or form are your taxes going down from $80,000 a year to $25,000 a year. You're not in the top tax bracket. Top tax bracket after everything in California and federal, that's like 50% sure, but you're not in the tax top bracket.
I get paid every 2 weeks, not every month. So that's it would be more like what 48
How do you think
52?
everyone else gets paid?
I feel like it's not $20,000. It feels like it's a little bit more than that.
But you just okay. You just told me that the $2,115 that came in was correct.
That is what comes in.
That equals $25,000 a year, buddy. So which one is it? Is that wrong or is that correct?
I think you're doing your math to monthly pay, isn't it?
This is what came in the last month. Payroll. That's how I'm asking how that's realistic. That's what came in payroll the last month.
I have no idea. Like I just don't.
Your account on a monthly basis, buddy? Buddy, why is your account on a monthly basis?
On a monthly
Payroll.
basis, I
Payroll.
expect $4,000.
Okay,
to $4,200
so that would
a
be
month.
a paycheck, not a month.
Yeah, that's paycheck. Yes. Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just literally just trying to figure out baseline.
Yeah. Okay.
Now that can be a bit more reasonable. You know, we're talking maybe $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Still don't think the taxes would get you to that, but after health insurance, maybe you're doing some HSA, and maybe a decent amount to 401k, math could start mathing. Now, here's my question. You said I'm making no money for the area, which again, $80,000 does not go as much there. Absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it does, but if you feel like the money that's hitting your account,
right,
why don't you look into where it's going?
I honestly don't ever look at my accounts. I just swipe the card and then I keep cash if it gets declined.
No, the pay
Yeah,
hitting your account.
I don't
Why
ever
don't
look.
you look?
I just don't.
No. Sorry, I don't mean. Sorry, I don't mean these accounts.
Okay.
I mean your pay, like your like pay stubs, like where the money is. Could you get access to a pay stub for me?
Yeah, I can get access to the pay stubs. Yeah, those are on a platform that I have access to.
That you have access to right now.
Yes. You pull it up right now?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I can show you my.
Oh
pay.
yeah.
Okay. That's my last paycheck.
Thank you for pulling this up so quickly. You only have 12% battery if you need. So this was one.
One, yeah.
Okay, very good. Very, 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 very good. So we had taxes at 27%. Okay. But we had post-tax deductions of 7.7%. There we go. Things are making a little more sense. Also, it's a little more than you suggested. So, is this an average check, would you say?
Oh, yeah, I'll be an average check.
Okay. So you're actually walking away with $4,564 a month. And after that post-tax deduction, you know, ranging close to that 10%, things are starting to make more sense. Okay. Wish I had a little more insights into specifically where everything went, but that's okay. All right, buds. We only got, you know, I feel like we haven't even started this conversation, but we've figured out the baseline. It's always an interesting one when we talk about the pay, and somehow that lasts 7 minutes, but we got there together. That's all that matters.
Sure we
Twins. Twins.
I'm
So
sure
what's up, buddy? What's going on?
Yeah, so currently I have a lot of debt, and I am currently living out of my leased car. I just threw a
Your
Mac.
leased car. And just okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So you're currently homeless.
Yeah, currently homeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep, it's okay. I mean,
Well, how long have you been?
It's only it's only been 3 weeks.
Wow, what happened 3 weeks ago?
So what happened 3 weeks ago is the guys whose room I was renting out, he ended up selling his property and kicked me out. And because I have no saved money, I couldn't even afford a down payment for another place.
Oh, so what was your rent at that time?
The rent at that time was $1,400 a month. That's including utilities.
Okay, so with that, I know you had debt, but why were you? In what way you're managing your finances in a way with after that $1,400, which is substantial for your post-tax income? Again, we need to look at those deductions, but in what way were you not saving any money? How are you living?
Because I've been trying to put a little extra towards the credit card.
Yeah.
So so if the credit card says, oh, it's $200 a month, I would be like, okay, $250. If it said it was $178, I would be like, okay, $200. So I really don't know how much that equals out to. I don't really look too hard at my balances or where stuff goes. I just kind of like know stuff goes places.
Is all of Mountain View pretty safe, or are there dangerous areas?
No, like, most of it's really safe.
Okay, well, good
city.
news then. I am seeing some places for like $2,000 that are 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you know, you have to pay for a background check sometimes, application fees, security deposits, sometimes first month, last month, you know, things like that. Here's 1.9 thousand. It does right off a highway, so it's a little noisier probably, but it is there, and it actually looks pretty nice inside.
But like
with the
2,000 is still like
1.9.
half my entire paycheck.
I get that.
Too much.
I get that.
It's too much.
Yes, I get that, which is what I was saying. What we have to do is if about 10% are going to, you know, retirement accounts, you might need that 10% right now.
But what isn't like the whole thing supposed to be that you're supposed to put as much as you can towards your retirement income?
Quiz. Pop quiz.
Sure.
Are you homeless?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think we solved that.
But I have a place to sleep.
In your car. That's not necessarily safe, though, man. That's not necessarily safe. And, you know, if a freak winter storm happens and, like, for some reason you don't have gas, like, people have gotten in trouble when they live in their car in those types of situations. Of course, that's a rarity, but even still, break-ins and different things. You know, showering's more or less convenient. It's harder to live. Even though you're saving money on rent, yes, it's harder to save money on these other things. You're going to be eating less healthy. Your sanitation's going to be less healthy. There's a lot of downsides. And again, just basic safety as well. So what? Your plan is to live in a car until you're 59 and a half and you can start taking money out of your tax advantage retirement accounts?
I was planning on living in my car until at least I feel like I have a better handling on my situation.
Now, why do you have to live in an expensive place like this? With your background, it seems like you might be able to get a good job. Clearly, you're not from there. You have a shirt on from the land of corn. So
yeah, I am.
Why do
from
you
the
have to
land
live
of corn.
in one of the most expensive cities in the world?
It's because I actually never went to college. So,
But have you built up the experience now on the resume?
I guess you could say I built up the experience on the resume, but I don't know. It just feels like it's so hard to show that when most places are expecting throwing your resume through an AI and be like,
Yes.
unless you say bachelor's, we're not even going to look at your resume. They don't care you have 4 years of experience being a integration engineer for a company that does millions in revenue.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly complicated. It really depends on the industry and it depends on the job market. There is a certain threshold where to recruiters and to certain jobs that a certain amount of experience will essentially negate, you know, the education thing that's there. Because, you know, bachelor's degree was 20 years ago and, you know, you have like 20 years of senior level experience. You know, that's what's going to take the priority. There's a certain level. It's not like there's a perfect math behind it and where that threshold hits on some bell curve, but you know, I would be curious to see like, what does your resume look like? Is it horrible? Is it and honestly, I'm not saying to lie.
But who checks that your college degree?
They don't.
Yeah, but we're not saying we're gonna. Yeah, exactly.
They don't.
I know.
Because clearly this is not working for you to be there. This job is not enough for you to live there in your current situation with the mess you've gotten yourself in, while also trying to contribute as much as you are to retirement accounts. This is not working. Flat out. Or you're just going to need to get on a roommate website. There's that option as well.
summoned me. I came. suffering. You summoned me. I came.
I obviously haven't done that. You know, I'm just looking at you renting your own 1 bedroom, 1 bath. But, you know, maybe you're renting a bedroom with a shared bath at a place with like 4 other dudes or something. You know? What?
It's 4 people. That's crazy.
You're living in a car. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, fair. Sure, that's fair, but still, like, I don't know.
You've never lived with other dudes?
I lived with 2 other people before in my old living situation, but like it was kind of like separate. It wasn't.
Yeah, you would get your own room, but you might share a bathroom.
The sharing of the kitchen is the hardest part.
That depends on who you live with.
Maybe.
I recently discovered I was still paying for a subscription I hadn't used in months. And trust me, I was mad as heck, because I hate them digital taquitos, ladies and gentlemen. But today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. This app is a game changer for anyone looking to get a grip on their finances. Whether it's canceling unwanted subscriptions, like the ones you and I forget about, or setting up a budget. She's not entitled to like you.
That was 2 months after we moved in.
No, that's... Trust me, I'm not saying she's right for the kick out.
But
if someone's not feeling it, they're allowed to break up.
No, of course. Yeah, no. I understand that. I'm not. That's
but the kick out, that kind of sucks. How quick was the turnaround between get the fuck out and you had to get the fuck out?
It was basically like a week. It was like, oh hey, this new guy's coming over now.
This new guy's coming over. That's fishy.
Yeah, I know.
So then you had to like scramble.
Yeah, I had to scramble and find a place. Yep, and I got lucky. There's just some rich guy who was like, I have a room available. I'm like, okay, sure.
Well, speaking of rooms available, we've done the research now on the roommate site. If you go to roomies.com/rooms/Mountain View, California, lots of options under $1,200 a month, and a few options under $1,000 a month. You can do that. You just need to be a little humble and accept that you can live in a place where other people use the kitchen besides yourself.
I mean, okay, yeah, I could live in a place with somebody else for $1,000 a month versus staying in my car. I don't want to, but I could.
Have you found a new girlfriend yet to live together in that area?
Yeah, so I actually did meet somebody else.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Within the last year, she was a foreign aid teacher that they gave a visa to basically support teaching in the area for a year. So she's not a U.S. citizen. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, sure.
Okay. But we're already engaged, and
cool.
we're so I got
she's on like you're engaged?
Yeah, she had to go. So she still has to go.
Wait, what visa was she here?
A J1.
A J1. Okay.
Yeah, and
so
China.
She's here.
No, she's already gone back in July 10th.
Back to where?
Back to China to finish her master's because she still has another year of master's.
You met her in person though.
I met her in person. Yeah.
Oh,
when she was teaching here in America.
How long did you guys know each other before getting engaged?
6 months.
Okay. I just want to, just out of safety for yourself, are you sure, 100% positive that this is, for good intentions? I just want to be protective.
Yeah, that's always the first question everyone asks.
I know, and I feel rude for asking. I really do.
I know, and I understand where it's coming from. Yes, I am sure because the original discussion was like I have to go to China. But the problem is that their restrictions on being able to immigrate to China is a lot.
Yeah, that's why the
really
stringent.
Is collapsing. It's really stringent. Like you have to have, a bachelor's. You have to have 4 scientific papers written. You have to be 15+ work experience, right?
Yeah, that country's destroying themselves.
Yeah. So the only other conversation we were able to have was, well, maybe you have to come to America, right? But then that also comes with a lot of complications too, because now I have to spend $5,000 at least on immigration papers, not including potential lawyer fees.
When she's here, you guys gonna live together? Is that gonna solve the living problem? She's gonna bring an income.
That's the hope.
When is she coming?
Hey, what's up? I didn't see you there, Natalie.
Because
I did watch the Chucky movie. I finished that shit. That shit was pretty
And
Pretty
then she can
cool.
come?
And then she can come, but
Oh, me. So we got to figure out your situation now. I don't give a shit about that then. No offense, that's too far away. I need to figure out you now. We got to jump into these finances. We've been talking about setting you up now for a bit.
He's actually a better character than I thought. I thought Chucky was kind of like overdone, but he was the first guy to do it. You know, they were the first little doll guy that was like weird and psycho. It was a pretty good movie.
Any financial situations that you need help with, and
Oh yeah, I was gonna play this guy.
Feel free to come join me on the show. Go to calebhammer.com/apply. So, U.S. Bank.
Yeah.
Now that's an American bank. That's a bank of freedom. You owe this is a lot. $3,793.77. And these minimum monthly payments, you in your situation without having any money left over, $123. These minimum monthly payments are gonna stack.
yeah, that's only one of the U.S. bank cards.
Why, buddy? You don't have rent anymore, so your expenses are a little lower. Why the possible are you purchasing $108.53 on this card that is accruing $82 in interest that you're basically just making the minimums on slightly above? But why? Why are we purchasing? The balance went up.
Well,
Okay, balance went slightly lower. Even though you put $200 towards it, it's because you got a payment credit. That's the only thing that saved you. It went down just a little.
it went down.
Just a little, even though you put $200 towards it, because you're purchasing on it. Why are you purchasing on a card that you cannot pay off that is accruing $82.64 of interest? And what kind of behavior is that?
It's probably I needed food.
So this is the situation that you align yourself in now. Because you do not have a place to live, because you're not willing to get a roommate because you're a child.
I'm not a child.
Well, adults sacrifice and get roommates.
Well, that's why I'm sacrificing and living in my car.
No, buddy, but that's not an acceptable option. That puts you in danger. That is not what an adult doesn't put themselves in danger.
I don't see it as being putting myself in danger.
Well, I don't give a what you see. That doesn't matter. That's not safe. And also, it's unproductive to a lot of parts of life. Again, now you have to shove likely less than healthy food in you. You always have to figure out where you're going to put your car. Sanitation's a completely different story. You got to stop somewhere just to take a and you got to brush your teeth somewhere and shower and figure it out. Yes, acting like a child is not willing to share a kitchen with someone. That is being a child.
Tiffany and their fugly kid? Who's Tiffany?
People are willing to share kitchens.
I've had to deal with really bad roommates.
Yes, bad roommates suck.
Yeah,
The people you'd be going to lunch with them a few times. There's a lot of things. I've had a bad roommate, and I've had plenty of good roommates. Good roommates can be good. You might make lifetime friends with them, buddy. I know a bad experience like that might turn you off from it, and I do get that. Getting over that hump might be difficult, but it is something worth at least talking to people about.
Fair.
$1,000. We found places for $1,000.
Oh, okay,
where you could
okay.
rent a room.
Yeah, maybe we could watch it, but like, I feel like I'd have to be like drunk as fuck to watch that.
So, well, you're paying for parking. I don't think we're shocked there. Auto parts, so we're getting things for your home, I guess.
I don't even remember what that's for.
Showplace icon.
Yeah, movies.
That's not. I need food. That's not getting food. You can't afford go to the movies. You can't. If you
Oh,
can't
what the
afford
fuck?
roof over your head.
But there's some movies I like going out and watching.
That's not.
That sounds pretty crazy. I kind of want to see what happens.
Like, I don't do it very often.
How do you justify doing it at all? The basic
Wait,
things that you have to take care of.
Let me play Survivor actually.
Just any sort of decency. There's also, I can't say this for a fact because it's going to determine on the person-to-person basis, but a lot of people lose their sense of humanity when they find themselves in homeless situations, which you are. I know you consider your car that right now. You've only been doing it for 2 weeks, but I don't want you to lose that either. And no offense, actually, offend you, I don't give a A movie's not more important than your humanity. It's not. Okay? Starbucks?
I don't see her.
Coffee.
I know! You said it's just getting food! It's not just getting food! If it was just getting food because you have nowhere to make food, that would be different. You're getting...
Hi, I'm Corey. I'm I'm a CPA and subject matter expert in financial accounting.
Where's
And in
Tiffany?
this video, we're going to run through an overview of the long-term debt markets. Our first step will be to define the concept of long-term debt. Once we get an understanding of this piece, we'll spend some time discussing the key elements of the debt markets using specific examples, and we'll be keeping in mind the accounting implications that come with it. Understanding how long-term debt markets work is critical for a company's ability to grow and thrive. So let's get started. Have you ever been in a
I'm gonna play one
situation
on my own,
where
yeah.
you needed to access cash now,
I
but
mean, you
you
could hop
knew
in
you
though,
wouldn't be able to pay back
in a second.
until well into the future?
After,
Maybe
I mean,
this
after
came
the
in the
next
shape
one.
of a student loan, or maybe even a mortgage investment in a home for your family. Companies run into these same types of situations where they also need to take on debt in order to invest in new resources and grow the business. However, the type of debt that the organization chooses to take on can impact its financial statements. Therefore, it's extremely important to get an understanding of how the long-term debt markets work. Before we get into the debt markets, I want to pose the following question. What is long-term debt? In accounting, when we refer to long-term debt, we're talking about a company's loans and other liabilities that won't come due at
Getting movies. You're getting auto parts, which you might need to get, and you're getting coffee? No! Child. When I said child, this is what it means. And then Wingstop for $22, you could get cheaper food if you have to survive. Get a sub for like $5. Or get a cooler. Or get a thermos. What do you want for yourself, buddy? What do you want for yourself? You seem content. You come here, you want help, but you seem content. I live in my car, and it's okay. What do you want? What are you trying to get? What do you want to do?
I would ideally want to help a little bit with my situation. Like, if I felt like I could afford to do more, I would do more. I just feel like I can't.
Feeling's not a... That's not reality. That's not reality. I get panic attacks a lot. That's a feeling. It's not reality.
Oh.
My body's telling me that something bad's happening, but nothing is. I don't give a shit if you feel like you can't afford anything. Mathematically, if you're willing to share a kitchen with somebody, you can afford it. With your $4,000 whatever dollars, you know, $3,793, it's, you know, let's say you do 1,200, which there were tons of options for. Tons of options. And we can send you the link. For after your contributions, because you'd rather contribute to retirement than have a roof over your head, we can still get you to spending 31% of your income. 31%, which I will accept on rent to get a roof over your head. I don't care what you feel. That's math. That's reality. That's the world you actually live, regardless of what you feel. You're an engineer. You live in the world of science and reality. Numbers are important, are they not?
Yeah, they are.
So you're just choosing to be ignorant. Which isn't ignorance then. You're just choosing to be oblivious.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it ignorance.
Yeah, but you know.
I do know, yeah.
You're obviously not a critical person. I'd use the charge card more like Biz. Helps build credit. But you have to pay it off. You're just lots of money to spend without having to pay it off. It's not. Okay, we have a line of credit. So this must be your checking account. Or credit union, yeah.
That's it.
guy's Lightborn. The fuck? Gonna go down right now. Oh, I'm working on the last gen. Yo, I did so well that game. Holy shit. Alright, you wanna join Natalie?
Yeah, it's a credit union. I had a
Late charges. We're late. You don't even spend money on rent anymore. Okay. Okay, you're choosing a movie theater over rent. Okay. But now you're choosing a movie theater over literally just paying your minimums. I will come back to the word child again. Because that's what a child chooses. Going and watching Thanos kick someone's ass is not more important than paying your minimum monthly payments. I'm seeing Deadpool this Sunday. I'm very excited. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time. I can afford it because I'm paying my payments.
I want to actually go see Deadpool. Yeah.
Congratulations. Make your payment.
Yeah, that's my plan actually, is to go see it later.
Today? What?
Yeah, later today. Yeah, I was gonna watch that movie.
You don't give a shit.
I do.
No, you don't. Don't do that. No, you don't. What a joke. No, you don't. You're willing to just go have these luxuries instead of literally pay a bill on time. You don't care. You wouldn't be going and doing it today if you cared. After having a conversation with me.
If it makes you, is that the reserve line of credit that's there? Or is that?
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I actually use that to cover not paying for the other credit card on that account.
What?
Sometimes.
Huh?
So if there's not enough funds on my account in that credit union, right, the reserve gets pulled first because it's going to go negative. So it's supposed to catch that.
Yeah, and then you're not even paying your reserve minimum payment.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me feel so much better. And good job addressing and laugh all you want, but good job addressing the fact that you're going to go around and have a luxury instead of just literally taking care of the minimum thing in your life. You don't even have a response to it.
I not really.
What are we doing here, man? This is like the most disappointed I've been in a long time. And I'm sorry, I don't want to make you feel bad, but so much of this is just your choice. If you were homeless outside of your own choice, I would have so much more sympathy. But you just literally will not share a kitchen with someone. Instead of paying your minimum payments on your bills that are protecting you from overdrafts, and don't get me wrong, there are overdrafts coming, spoiler alert, but you go to see Deadpool and then 2 other movies spending upwards of $100 this past month at movie theaters. What are we doing? That's why I'm disappointed. That's why I'm having a hard time bringing sympathy right now, because you're doing that. With the ex-girlfriend thing, yes, that was beyond your control. I'll feel sympathy about that. That was also a year and a half ago or whatever. So it's like, okay, that's not now. Right now, you're choosing this. So, new wifey's going to be coming over. She's going to be coming over to, when she wants to cuddle in the living room, she's cuddling in your trunk.
No.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
No, that's not what I was planning. I was planning on, like, paying some of this down to be able to afford...
By missing your payments for going to the movies.
To be able to afford to get a place for us.
I don't know what the normal minimum monthly payment is. It's $55 now, but there's a past due. I think that just got added to the balance. Of course, there's interest accruing. It's $518.71 is owed now. $500 credit limit. So guess what? If you have less money, it's not going to pull from this. You're above your credit limit.
Yeah.
$55 minimum monthly payment. Gosh, When was the last time she was here?
She was here July 10th is when she had to go back. So she just left.
So how did you guys live together?
Because it was before July. I had my old living situation, and then the last month of July, I spent $600 on a hotel for a week right before she went back.
$600 for a week of living. When we now know if you spend an additional $400, you get 4 weeks of living. What are we doing?
Well, at the time, what I was doing is I was like, oh, a place to rent is $1,800 a month, and then the hotel was only like $73 a day, so it's like the same price. I'm like, I can deal with that.
How are you guys doing this wedding? You're not gonna try to have like a wedding, are you? Did you get her a ring?
I got a ring. Yeah, it was.
Please tell me this was like a pop ring.
No,
ring pop.
it was $2,500, and it was while we were on vacation, and I technically
vacation.
Yeah.
How are you?